Hello, this is Gideon Emery, a.k.a. Balthier from Final Fantasy XII, telling you you're listening to the Raw Dogs podcast. And from this leading man, may you be the leading man in your own lives. Tune in, enjoy, farewell.
Jesus Christ, why do I know you?
You're Kramer to me.
I'm
I'm more comfortable with that and with that comparison. I
What?
watch more Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I'm the Kramer? I feel like I'm the George.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Raw Dogs, number 61. We're here today to discuss the PlayStation 2. My name is Brad the Lad, and I
Is that an Ark the Lad reference?
No, not. Well, I guess it can be. If anything, I'd be referencing Dark Cloud. But yes, I am Brad. Who are you?
I'm Dylan Payne.
Dylan Payne.
Just really leaning into that edgelord status I'm going for. Yeah.
And I'm Tyler.
Tyler, welcome.
I should have
back.
really shot it to you. I did not.
I had plenty of time to come up
You know
with
what? I was just like, listen, I did that one on the spot. I literally looked at a Max Payne case and I said Dylan Payne. And you want to know something crazier? That's not even funny.
We'll go Tyler Hawk's Pro Skater 3.
I was trying to do
That's
something with,
really good.
with Tony Hawk, and I don't know why I didn't see Tyler Hawk.
And the layup was missed.
Yeah.
Welcome back. You were on the Dogcast once before, Tyler. And yeah, we wanted to have you on because we know you are a bona fide PlayStation guy.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing.
It's kind of your thing.
Yeah.
Yep. And we are part of Hair the Dogcast, and we are proud members of the Hyperx Podcast Network. For
Yes, we are.
more information, check out podcast.hyperx.com. And yes, the Raw Dogs, we like to discuss video game topics in a little more profound fashion. We're very profound. We like to go deep, as they say.
Profound. I like to approach it philosophically and do none of the research, and Brad does all the research and listens to me rant.
So actually, interesting to note, for the longest time, our most listened to episode was our first Final Fantasy VII PS1 one back in the day.
That one was so long, though.
So long ago, too. But that was the most listened to one. But recently, the Game Boy Advance retrospective has surpassed as the most listened to Raw
really?
Dogs. So I'm happy to be doing another console retrospective. I like doing these very much. We're going to look at the hardware, talk about some of the games, the creation, and all those good things. But opening thoughts, the PlayStation 2, when did you get it? Tell us a good story here, Dylan.
I never got one.
Never owned a PlayStation 2?
I've never owned a PlayStation 2. I actually do now. It's my ex's, and it just sits there. I don't know what to do with it. I can't upscale it for my 4K television or whatever. But I was so jealous of the people who owned PlayStation 2s because I got a GameCube. And I love JRPGs. I loved anything that I could waste my time on. And everyone who had PS2s, they were talking about the games I literally knew nothing about. I'm like, what do you mean? What? Until I got like Game Informers.
And little did you know you would become a bouncer later in life.
It's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the bouncer.
Well, that's the reason I became a bouncer. I'm like, what's this all about?
Big
I got
fan
to
of that
figure this
game.
out. No, but I always wanted one because I didn't consider it the best system. It was the first out the gate, but it was the one with the least. It wasn't a graphic powerhouse. And the GameCube, was that the best one for graphics?
Actually, the Xbox would have been the best for graphics, but the GameCube and the Xbox were more powerful than the PS2.
Right.
The PS2 is interesting. Part of the sixth generation, came after the Dreamcast, kicked the shit out of that, and then it had such a big head start. And it was successful for many reasons, but interesting. I'm surprised you never had one. With the sales numbers, there is enough PS2s sold to satisfy 2% of the world population. Wow. I saw. So,
well, I think the reality of that comes down to my mom swore to never buy me a video game console, and this would have been an age where I was in my early teens. Essentially, she just vowed never to buy me a video game system, and I wasn't old enough to get a job, but I was young enough to have what I already had. So, PlayStation 2 would have been off the table no matter what.
Yeah. And it wasn't a cheap console. But Tyler, I imagine you had at least one PlayStation 2. I know you told me one story last night.
Yeah, I've had a couple. I had the Slim. I had
What
the
did you
original.
do to them?
I had someone make me throw away my PlayStation 2 when I was moving once, which is a sore spot for me.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we were moving and downsizing, and the PlayStation 2 was a casualty. I should have fought harder in that battle.
Wait, a valuable piece of equipment
just
instead of
gone.
like...
Yeah.
There's no room. Look at how big this thing
Yeah.
is. So I saw this next to the PlayStation 5 earlier today. I put them side by side. The PS5 is a monster compared to this sexy little
keep getting
machine. Yeah.
It's a good-looking little machine. I do have to give this thing credit.
It is striking. But
I love the PlayStation 2. It was the first console that I wanted before I had it. Like my dad had an SNES, and that was already in the house. And then one Christmas, I got a Nintendo 64, and I didn't even know what that was when I got it. I was like, "What? Oh, Mario, cool." But the PlayStation 2 was on my radar before I ever had one, and then one day my dad just showed up with it, and it wasn't Christmas, and it wasn't anything. Like I think he just wanted it because he still played video games back then.
yeah.
And yeah, it was. If I could go back and look, the PlayStation 2 arriving at my dad's house definitely affected my vitamin D intake because I just stopped going outside.
Yeah.
When I had the N64, I'd still go outside and play with friends and stuff, but PlayStation 2 is where I was like, nah.
That explains your Gollum-like skin.
Yeah. If at 9 years old I could start growing a neck beard, I probably would have.
Also, what does your dad play now? Like Wordle?
He doesn't play anything, and I was like, you need to, like, I'll give you one of my old systems.
Yeah,
Just
why
play.
doesn't he? That's so crazy that some people it's like a passing thing, but your dad was kind of ahead of the game.
Yeah. I got my N64 for Christmas or my birthday. They're a day apart on Christmas Eve. So, and at the time I was like, wow, Dad's awesome. No, Dad's selfish. Dad wanted an N64, so he bought me one.
Yeah.
And, which kudos to the dude. Like, awesome plan.
Yeah.
But the PlayStation 2 was like my first real getting into gaming and moving away from like sports games and Mario and stuff. And I think the first game I got was Grand Theft Auto 3.
Oh boy, you're much younger than me, then, aren't you? I'm no longer the baby.
Yeah. I think the last time my dad played a video game was probably Duck Hunt. I can't imagine him ever holding a controller, but
I saw my mom play Burger Time once.
the PlayStation 2 was my first console.
Was it?
The first one that I bought with my money.
Understood.
Yeah, I was just doing the math in my head. It must have been like 13 or 14 when I bought it. And I was old enough to be working at a grocery store and have a job. And I had enough money in the bank account. And I'm like, can I just withdraw money and go buy this without my parents' permission? And I'm pretty sure my brother drove me to Watertown. And yeah, I bought it. I remember going to the bank and not being sure if I could withdraw all that money at once because $300 at the time. That was the most I've ever held.
Yeah, same here. When I bought my Xbox 360, that felt criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The PlayStation 2, though, I remember my family always had a lot of consoles, and we had the PlayStation 1 and, Super Nintendo and Genesis, but I remember seeing the commercial for Dark Cloud and being so blown away by the graphics. I was like, I had to.
It was pretty wild.
Had to get my hands on this machine. And I did. And this is, I believe, my original one with the disk drive still kind of broken. It still opens, but it actually was not working. And then I dropped it and the thing fell off and now it opens fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are all these white stains around?
White stains. I think you might just see dust. A lot of that's just dust on there.
Well, it looks like it was liquid at one point.
Oh, I liked it, but not that much.
Get a forensics team in here.
Sorry, I had to do a Jamie Bone joke.
What's up, Jimmy? Yeah, so the PlayStation 2 is the best-selling video game console of all time.
Soon to be overtaken.
By which one do you think? The Switch?
I think the Switch is going to do it.
The one directly behind it is actually the DS. So Nintendo's innovation is selling consoles still, so that's good.
I mean, holy shit. It's coming up on it, but it's kind of crazy. I mean, I know you're going to get into it, but general appeal of this thing. What was right off the bat what you wanted to do with this?
What I wanted to do with this was play more RPGs and experience the next generation of gaming. What a lot of people wanted to do with this was have a built-in DVD player. Mm-hmm. One of the main reasons this sold so much was because it had a DVD player And standalone DVD players were like more expensive than a PlayStation 2 at the time.
Yeah.
Bonkers to think about now because you can get them for $10 at Walmart, but back then a DVD player was expensive as shit.
Yeah, my mom got a DVD player through work. She won some employee of the month or whatever at her job, and they gave her a DVD player. I had no idea what one was at the time because they were fresh out.
Yeah.
And all we had was that Nicolas Cage movie, City of Angels.
Yep.
Whoa.
And I watched it a million times because I'm like, you just put this disc in there and then Nicolas Cage comes on. This is fantantastic. I didn't even know the PlayStation.
How do I rewind it?
You press a button and it rewinds?
Just spinning it with your finger. I remember our first DVD my family bought was for some stupid fucking reason Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon.
And Josh Brolin. I just watched that the other day. It's on Netflix.
It's not bad. I watched it the other day too. Yeah. But I'm like, why would they get an R-rated horror movie with a titty in it? But I remember not complaining.
No, you paused that scene a lot.
I'm gonna watch Hollow Man again.
Mine was actually the first Resident Evil movie with Mila Jovovich and
nice.
Michelle Rodriguez. Man, I lived out in the suburbs of a place, and both my parents worked, and I would bike 5 miles to rent movies during the summer, to drive all the way back. I'd rent like 7 movies, and I would just be like, DVDs, man. DVDs. Check all these DVDs. Like I had them in like a backpack. It's like no different than what I am right now. But like I was just like, oh shit. I mean, if I had a PlayStation 2, damn, I would have flipped my gourd.
The PlayStation 2 has sold 158 million units as of January 2013. It was part of the 6th generation of consoles mentioned before with the Dreamcast, GameCube, and Xbox. Reportedly, Sony says it has over 3,800 game titles, different titles, with over 1.5 billion copies sold of said titles. A lot of games,
It feels like there should be more. 3,800?
It's a lot of games.
It is, but...
Yeah, I don't know how it would stack up. That'd be an interesting figure, like what console has the most games.
I guess I'd like to see them all comparatively, like physically, like on bookshelves.
I'd like to see a complete set.
Yeah, I would too.
That'd be interesting, but
it's got to be out there.
Somebody's done it.
Yeah.
We mentioned one of the absolute important factors in the PlayStation 2 sales was that it had a built-in DVD player. Another thing the PlayStation 2 did that was a little more revolutionary than I think it was, that is thought of as getting credit for, is backwards compatibility with the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
It's like it's just a given thing now. You expect consoles like, oh, you should be able to play your 360 games on an Xbox One.
Yeah.
And before this, it was pretty much just like the Atari that had done it before. There wasn't any like home console that was really doing this other than like, well, you had your Game Boy Color, could play Game Boy games, but otherwise, backwards compatibility, this was ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And a good selling point. We already have a giant library of games. You can use your PlayStation 1 controller, your PlayStation 1 memory card, for certain games. Yeah.
It's a good talking point with mom and dad too, where you can be like, we can trade this in, get a little bit money off of it, like, and it does the thing the other one does.
Yeah.
Like the Wii. Why did Nintendo end up dropping the ball? Whatever.
Because the Wii could play GameCube games. Mm-hmm. Yes. I actually never owned my own Wii, which is kind of odd.
Same. I had a GameCube, never went up to the Wii.
Yeah, I borrowed my brother's to get through all the Galaxy games, and maybe that was it. And I played Smash Brothers, but
okay.
The PS2 was created by Ken Kutaragi, the designer of the PlayStation 1. He began working on this behemoth in 1994, right after the PS1 launch. 1997 was when reports were surfacing that it would house a built-in DVD player and internet connectivity. Sony continued to deny this. It's funny that they're like, no. Why would we make another console?
It's kind of wild to think about now because generations last 7 or 8 years. But thinking about like when the last one was finished, they just started working on this next one. Like we all know that Nintendo is working on the successor to the Switch,
which they should call the Super Switch or the Switch 2 or something. Switch Pro.
It should fucking be called the Super Switch.
The Super Switch is cool.
That's a good name.
Super Switch is an awesome name.
Yeah.
It really rolls off the tongue. I never even thought about that one. I was going to be like...
Instead of the Switch Lite, why don't they call it the Light Switch?
The Snatch.
The Snatch.
Nintendo Snatch.
But like...
the Nintendo Snatch.
But like that level of secrecy, I mean, it existed well because the internet's not constantly reporting on everything all the time.
Yeah.
But to finish one thing and just be like, listen, we need another one of these things. And we need to make it as good as possible. Just get right on it because we know the other one was kind of lame. Just get to work. Because I don't really like the original PlayStation. I'll say it.
Those games haven't aged well, some of them. The ones that were trying to push the edges of graphics on the PS1 do not look good when you go back to them. The ones that kind of had a more niche style, the thing about FF7, they kind of had a unique blocky appearance, which gives them kind of more character than FF8, which...
I still think FF8 looks good.
And some of those games look better on CRTs. Unfortunately, now when you play them, you're not playing them on the native televisions that they were kind of designed for.
Says you. I own a CRT.
Nice. Where is it at?
It's in my house, right next to my big TV.
It's on my TV wall. Where I have all the TVs.
It's right where the TVs are. Duh, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. Sony announced the PlayStation 2 on March 1st of 1999. The Dreamcast was the first one to enter the sixth generation. It's a ballsy move to come out first, come out swinging, come out early. You hope to get ahead of everybody else, but also, I don't know. I remember reading magazines thinking, well, there's going to be something. The other ones are making bigger things. Sounds like maybe more powerful. Why get the Dreamcast? Did either of you guys have you didn't have a Dreamcast? No. Yeah, I never did either. I played one. Looking back, I kind of wish I still that I owned one now because it is a neat little box.
I've got my eyes on one, and I actually think because I fell in love with a video game at MGC, and I don't know if you know, it's called Dolphin Blue. You ever heard of it?
No.
It kind of reminds me. It's kind of like an SNK side scroller, like Metal Slug. But you ride on a fucking dolphin and you're destroying a German army style thing. And it just, I was completely just fucking look at this thing. But that's the reason I want a Dreamcast. I don't care about any of the other games. Except for Virtua Tennis. I hear that one's really good. I'm going to try to find that.
I like to play. Jet Set Radio, Power Stone.
Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
Once I get it, we're all going to try it out. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. So let's see. Launch day, PlayStation 2. It launched in Japan, March 4th, 2000, in North America, October 26th, 2000. Landed in Europe and Australia a month later. It sold 500,000 units on its first day, marking an industry record for fastest selling console. With games and accessories sales added in, it made $250 million its first day, beating the Dreamcast, which only made $97 million on the first day. Which the PS2 is a powerhouse, and I think the DVD player is a selling point, like you mentioned.
It's an actual entertainment system,
which was revolutionary for the time. No one thought of the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation 1 as it's an entertainment center. This, you now have a movie player. It's kind of like, I remember when
mom and dad would look at this and go well, it doesn't look ugly. It can sit on our little console area, and it looks unassuming. It looks like a piece of modern technology for the time.
You know what else looks like, dude? The first console that you set up vertically.
That's true.
Yeah. It's powerful. It's got such a unique, sleek look. The PS2 with that blue gradient on the front. Mm-hmm. I remember
it's elegant.
I watched the announcement, and they had three women bring out PlayStation 2s, and one set one up like this with a disc drive out, another set one sideways, and one horizontal. But it's striking. There's just video footage of people just like the apes in 2001: A Space Odyssey going up to the monolith, just what the fuck is this thing?
It's very Monolith-esque from that movie too.
Oh yeah,
it works.
Although I didn't know anybody that actually set it up vertically.
I was just going to ask, how did you display yours? Mine was always horizontal.
I would have done. I do all of these horizontal.
Anything that's got a controller with a cord.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. I will accidentally pull it off of there, and much easier to tip this way. So I always had mine flat, the way consoles should be. I like that, and especially if you own a cat.
Also, I heard tell of rumor that if you had it on the side like that, it would damage the disc eventually, and some of the components within it would fuck up. So I never would have done that. Even like a Wii, I would never have it on its side like that because there's something about the motor and the rotator in there that if it can start to wobble over time. So keeping it flat kind of keeps it stationary.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yep. I know that like I was having issues playing like PS1 games on this sometimes, and they would say try playing it vertically, and you have to like do a few other things.
Really?
Yeah. Well, and it's odd because this disk drive ejects. It's not like it fits on something and is snug tight.
Yeah.
It gets pulled in.
Yeah.
And it just seems so much more prone to bouncing around or problems in there. God bless him though. I think the vertical nature made it look cool, but
It looks cooler on its side. I will say that. But the people who did that, I'm like, what are you, heathens? Look at this.
fun fact, I don't have the outside of the disk drive here, but it has a little PlayStation logo. It can actually, you can turn it.
Flip.
That's the most impressive piece of hardware on it. Because when I discovered that, there was always a debate with my friends. Like, no, you're not supposed to stand it up. It's supposed to be on its side. My friend's like, well, why are these little rubber things on the bottom of it if it's not supposed to stand up?
Yeah.
We would argue about it forever. And then one day someone's like, you can turn it. I'm like, we've argued about this for so long, Max. We know you can turn it. He's like, no, the logo turns on the disk drive.
I was so excited to learn that, and I didn't have my disk drive complete, so I couldn't try it.
I was at lunch when we had this revelation, and all I thought about for the rest of school was like, I got to get home and turn that logo. He's fucking with me. There's no way. And I got home, ran to my room, and turned it. And I was like, son of a bitch, he's right.
That will never exist ever again. That will never happen ever again. You will never have that level of curiosity. Congratulations, you had that weird excitement. Like when someone told me that like you could get a Pokemon to evolve by doing a certain thing, I was just like, what are you fucking talking about? I read it online. I'm like, oh, well, I got to get Charizard up to level 100 so I can get a Charcoal.
Yeah, I got home and turned that thing. I felt like Antonio Banderas in that GIF where you just sit back and he's just ooh. Yep, chef's kiss right there.
Yeah. I remember telling my mom, like, can I get out of school to go stand in line to get a PlayStation 2 the day it came out? And I said, strictly because we'll be able to resell it that like same week, and we could probably make $1,000. Take $300, make $1,000. She said, "No, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense." And literally on the news, like 2 days later, PlayStation 2 is going for thousands of dollars. So I was like, my mom's like, "You were right."
Wow.
Yeah. They were immediately difficult to find, PlayStation 2s. And yes,
were.
people were paying over $1,000 on sites like eBay for them.
The first one I saw was New Year's of like 2000. And I was at like a family gathering, and like some of my family is wealthy. It didn't really spread to me, as it turns out. But like
it's not genetic, it turns
they
out.
had the PS2, and I was just like, and he's just like, "Oh, do you want to try playing?" I'm like, "No, you play. I want to watch what the fuck this thing is first." Like, because I like watching video games too. But I was like, "Holy shit, look at this!" He had all the dumb games. What was like? It wasn't Siphon Filter. It was like X Squad or something.
I don't know.
I remember seeing that. It looked awful, but I was like, wow, graphics. Take a look at that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was mind-boggling at the time, going from the PlayStation 1 to seeing some of the games we have here. North American launch titles had 29 different games, including...
God, don't you wish they'd have launch lineups now?
Well, just because you have a lot of games doesn't mean you have a lot of good games.
I don't care.
This is what I marked as, I mean, there was also the sports games. People wanted Madden, they got it. But the launch titles that I thought were most relevant, Ridge Racer 5, Midnight Club, Smuggler's Run, Armored Core 2, Time Splitters, Tekken Tag Tournament, DOA 2, and SSX were what I thought were the most notable. Dynasty Warriors 2 you could put in there as well.
Sure.
Yeah. I know that we played a shitload of Midnight Club, one of the first games we got. And I played a lot of
Classic
Tekken Tag
rock
Tournament.
Star.
Yeah. And Smuggler's Run was like the other side of that coin, which was pretty cool. On the console wars side of things, Sega announces the discontinuation of the Dreamcast March 2001. Just 18 months after the Western launch of the console.
Wow.
That is hilariously bad. Bafflingly bad. How can you abandon a console after 18 months? It took more than 18 months to make it, to like design it.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. It's a good system. I actually do like the feel of that controller quite a bit.
That one flew under the radar for me because, I mean, like I said, the PlayStation 2
It
was
might have been
the first one that was really on my radar. So when there was like this foretold legend of a discontinued console that I had never heard of, but I had like an uncle who had it, and one day on vacation, I'm like, Crazy Taxi? What is that? Is that new? He's like, no, this is dead.
You go over to some weirdo kid's house that you like don't ever hang out with in town, and they're talking to a fish on a Dreamcast that sounds like Leonard Nimoy. You're like, what is going on in here?
If I get a Dreamcast, we are getting Seaman, and we're going to raise a little Seaman.
Just keep your Seaman off of my PlayStation 2. It's
already got enough of it on there.
Hey.
Well, I don't want to put a hat on a hat. You know, it's a little much artistic.
Two hats. No way.
Two hats. Dang. No, it's like someone pulls up to you in a van and it's just like, do you want to play Crazy Taxi?
I can talk. No, Hey You Pikachu was for the 64. I was getting confused there.
I rented Hey You Pikachu and had that little microphone nozzle thing. That game sucked.
Well, and then there's like people playing online Phantasy Star on the Dreamcast. You're like, what are you doing?
What is this? That's crazy.
Yeah, kind of ahead of its time. The PlayStation 2 remained the only sixth-generation console for over 6 months before the arrival of its competitors with the GameCube and the Xbox. Xbox required an adapter for the DVD functionality, and GameCube has a tiny little disc, so you can't play DVDs on that thing.
For piracy reasons. Oh my God. And now it like makes no fucking difference. They even tried that with the stupid like the cartridges again, which I love those little cartridges, by the way. I think
that's a great way to have games, yeah.
I really like the feel. I like the portability of it. Like that's perfect. It's better than bringing around like a sleeve of like, you know, like DVDs in like a case.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you're from the early 2000s again, speaking of the PlayStation 2. But like the anti-piracy measures meant nothing about 4 years into this thing's lifespan or any of that console's lifespan. You could just... When did Dolphin emulation start? I guess that's for the GameCube episode.
Yeah, Nintendo didn't want anything to be easy for them. So, yes, we're going to make our own discs, make it difficult, make it expensive, and not approachable to third-party developers.
Well, and not having it be a DVD player was their greatest flaw.
Yeah, and the Xbox kind of came in like a dark horse for some reasons. The Xbox definitely did win the online functionality battle of that console war.
Though barely?
Barely. Xbox Live was huge.
For the first generation of it, yeah, they definitely won, but it wasn't as like widespread.
From someone that played Halo 2 religiously online on the Xbox, like no, it was Xbox Live was a big deal.
Yeah. I didn't have the internet.
I had to campaign my parents to try and get me an Xbox. They're like, we just bought you another PlayStation 2 for your bedroom. Like, we're not getting you an Xbox now. I'm like,
what? But, hey, why did you need two of them?
Divorced parents.
Hey,
nice dude.
Yeah, which
was
deal at my dad's house because it had the DVD player. It was in the living room, so I wanted to play it so often. But you know,
and he was
like, he's watching Sports Center or whatever, like
watching his John Wayne movies.
Yeah, my stepmom's watching her stories in the middle of the day.
Cigar.
Like, I couldn't play it all the time. But
after days after my stories.
My mom had that.
Go play the Atari.
You got a Game Boy?
You got a Game Boy. You got an Atari.
Yeah, I was like royalty, though, when my mom got the PlayStation 2 because she had the DVD player already. Oh. So it didn't need to be in the living room.
She could watch Hollow Man in the living room without the PlayStation.
I was like, so I can put this in my room? She's like, yeah, go for it. I'm like, I'm never going to see the sun again. If only this had online so I could talk to people.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The PlayStation 2 did have I don't want to call it half-baked. A lot of people played online with this thing, but it was a lot less friendly than the Xbox. The Xbox, you plug an Ethernet cord in the back. You're good to go. The PlayStation 2 has this little thing on the back here where I hid my marijuana. You can fit 2/8 in there very easily.
Yeah, clearly.
And who's going to look in there? I thought I was a genius. The GameCube has a good spot for that, too. But it's got this huge, like, open expansion drive in the back. And it was used for a network adapter and a hard disk drive. You had to get a separate network adapter. You could go online. There wasn't a lot of online games for this, though, that were of major consequence other than Final Fantasy XI, which was A lot of people played Final Fantasy 11.
Sure as fuck did.
And it's funny to think of people playing it on the PlayStation 2, but they did. You actually couldn't play FF11, though, on the Slim version because the hard disk drive was required, and it doesn't fit with the Slim. It only works on the big one.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the people who play MMOs on a console, that's kind of nuts because I played 14 for a long while. Mm-hmm. About a year straight, I played 14. Barely could get through all the content. I was just too busy. But like the people who do that on the console, they're insane. They're absolutely insane. If you don't have a full keyboard,
You could. There is 2 USB ports on the front of this bad boy.
Brad, by saying you could means that so many people don't.
Right. Yes.
By association.
I still take for granted the fact that you can plug keyboards into modern consoles.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
I had a Bluetooth for my PS4. Yeah.
Yeah, and some people do play console games with a keyboard and mouse on their consoles, which is something you just don't think about, but it does exist.
Yeah, I mean, I get the benefit of it for some games, but I just always liked the controller.
Yeah,
and I had friends who did that too, and I'm just like, why? Like, you got this nice DualShock that you can just plug in and go.
Well,
I don't want to be tapping away on buttons with both hands.
When you need 20 different hotkeys for one game, that it becomes impossible. Because I tried it on a console once, and I was just like, "This is incomprehensible garbage." You got to press 5 buttons to enter like a hot bar that puts you to somewhere else, and you got to program it yourself. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
I always felt like
I have a job.
My friends who, like when we were learning to drive, who'd like started on a stick. Like, why? We're so so technologically advanced now. Cars do it for you. Like that's the controller. And then you got these these other guys who are like, no, I'm plugging a keyboard into that PlayStation 2. Watch me.
You don't like WASD?
No.
That confused me for a long time.
Yeah.
Why do they call it that?
Did it really?
Yeah. I mean, I've never been somebody that plays with a keyboard for anything.
Well, no,
other than Chip's Challenge, that's the only keyboard game for me. Talking a little bit about the hardware. PlayStation 2 has 2 USB ports on the front, 1 FireWire port, used almost for nothing. Interesting choice, 2 controller ports. They said, we don't want 4. Dreamcast had 4. 64 had 4. Xbox had 4. GameCube had 4. And the PlayStation 2s, we're going to do 2. And you could get the separate multi-tap, which we had. Did you have a multi-tap?
No, my buddy did. But I never used it.
Yeah.
I was also like, I didn't really play that many multiplayer games once I really got into the PlayStation 2.
It's a single-player machine.
Yeah, I really delved into that aspect of it.
Yeah. I don't think of it as a party console, but there was a fair amount of 4-player and even some 8-player games, which is odd if you hooked up 2 multi-taps, which just seems like a whole lot of work. But
don't everybody move at once. You'll unplug it.
Yeah. The menu for the PlayStation 2, everyone loves those sounds. A lot of people don't realize that the towers on the menu indicates how many different games you have saved. So for every tower, that's a different game you have saved on the memory card.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
PlayStation does a lot of little Easter egg stuff like that. And then there's those like little swirly circles. And then when you go into the system, they have like these pillars and a circle as well. They are actually an internal clock. If you know how to read them, it is telling the time in its own little Sony PlayStation way.
That's psychotic. Why even do that?
Who knows? But when I heard that, I'm like, that's kind of cool. There was an internal clock. I actually plugged this in a couple hours ago. First time I had this plugged in a long time. It said 2/20/2022.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It was off by an hour though because daylight savings time or for something.
Still,
but
how does it know?
Internal clock. Something's in there. Just
that means there's a battery in here that's still working.
Not for long, probably.
That's insane.
That's another thing that needs to be brought up about this generation and the generation before it, especially on disk systems. These are all going to be worthless in about 10 years. There's going to be data degradation, and it's going to destroy disk games.
But emulation's a crime. We can't emulate stuff.
No, never. I would never.
I don't want to preserve history.
No.
That makes me sad because some of my N64 games are starting to go.
All you have to do is
open them up.
You can replace those though.
Yeah.
Like that's actually quite easy. I've done it for Game Boy games. I can teach you how to do it if you want.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun to just buy some super cheap game and just open it up and kind of do some test runs.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I got into Game Boy Advance collecting when it became super popular for everyone else too. It's called the pandemic, and it happened to everyone apparently. So
Dylan somehow accidentally got 2 pirated or like ROM hack versions of Earthbound or Mother 3.
Mother 3.
So I got one of them. Thanks, Dylan.
I wish it were a version that the timing for the music actually worked, because that's a game where it's emulation.
Yep.
But it's the best thing we're ever going to have, because Nintendo refuses to give us a perfect piece of art.
Didn't their recent Switch thing? Earthbound's coming.
It's just Earthbound, yeah.
Okay.
Not even Earthbound Beginnings 2. They're bragging about bringing a thing that I've had forever to a system I own, and it's just like, I have the Game Boy version of Earthbound as well. That was only released in Japan. I can play it on my Game Boy Micro. I don't need it on my fucking Switch.
I'm excited for the
Get
next
out of here.
next Dogcast to discuss some of that Nintendo stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
The PlayStation 2 can output 480i and 480p with component cables, which I didn't use back in the day. I have component now, and some games look okay. And you can even do 1080i on a very select number of games. I want to say like Gran Turismo is always one that showcases that.
Which looks so bad.
And another thing that I was surprised to learn, this had some PSP connectivity as well.
Really?
If you had, like, I don't have the examples, I remember reading this, but certain games, Monkey Ball being one of them, I know. If you had both the PSP and like the PlayStation 2, you could transfer like progress. Some would unlock pictures. You know, it's that garbage Game Boy Advance, GameCube connectivity that a lot of the things had, like, ooh, here's a new skin. It wasn't things like, I remember the Metroid Fusion Prime, you unlocked the original Metroid. I was like, that's dope.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
That's dope.
It's how I played the original Metroid. I didn't have an NES, so that's how I did it.
And the most unique connectivity between consoles, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, which we will play at some point. I'm going to get us 4 Game Boy Advances hooked up, and we're going to play one day. That'd be fun. That's a good game.
I still have the cord. Don't buy another cord for that. I got it hidden away somewhere. I will need a Game Boy Advance that's not a micro, though.
I got 2.
Perfect.
I think I got one at my mom's house.
Yeah.
I think I've got one squirreled away somewhere. But my mom also gives shit away, so I don't know.
I win. I have one signed by Story of the Year, so take that.
Will that one work for Crystal Chronicles?
Yep, the SP does work. Somebody at college said, I don't want this. I don't play video games. You can have this. I'm like, who is this? Like, oh, Story of the Year signed it. I want it. What an odd thing. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's beautiful. It's up there next to Imagine Fashion Party.
Oh, I just
realized the devil.
I have my SP at my apartment. I just remembered where I put it.
You got to have all your ducks in one little row. You said, you're like, I might have a Slim somewhere. I'm like, you should know whether or not you have a...
You know what? You got to get yourself a Nintendo shelf. That's what I did.
You know, it's really time I started acting like an adult and get all these consoles out of a box and put them up somewhere.
I still have like most of my game boxes for everything. I have the original... this is my brother's, I believe, but PlayStation 2 box. I have PS4. I got the Wii U. Yeah. The original Xbox is sitting up there. I don't know. I have the Guitar Hero 2 box, or the Guitar Hero 360. I have the box still, not the guitar, which is weird, but I'm sure I'll be able to sell that sometime if I want to.
I got a couple guitars.
Maybe.
The box, something complete in box is more interesting.
Yeah,
I try and keep things complete in box, but yeah, so you could connect your PSP. As far as peripherals go, let's talk about the DualShock 2.
Lovely. I love the DualShock 2.
So, covered in dust, not semen, Dylan.
I don't know what your cum looks like.
This does look a little gnarly. It's got some like rust going on. Not rust, but it's got some coloration to it. The DualShock 2 is largely unchanged from what the PlayStation 1 looks like.
Yeah.
The same design, same hold. It's got those nice clicky analog sticks. One thing that is different with this, though, is all buttons other than L3 and R3 feature analog pressure sensitivity. So 256 levels of pressure. If I lightly tap X, my car won't go as fast. If I push it in hard, you go faster. I don't think a lot of people realize that was something that all the buttons had. If you push it harder, you will actually, like, certain games allow you to go faster or like punch harder or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I actually knew that for some reason. I have no clue why.
And I'm guessing that's what the little analog button was for. Because I was like, I don't get it. It doesn't do nothing.
Yeah.
When I read the word analog, I asked like older cousins, I'm like, what does this word mean? They're like, we don't know.
That'd be a good Dogcast topic. Buttons on controllers that you still don't use for anything.
Paging Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah. The DualShock 2, though, a pretty slick little thing.
It's a wonderful controller, and especially as an evolution of the DualShock 1 from the PlayStation era, which had a lot of its own problems. I feel like this was just a natural progression of it.
And
it's good.
I love the PlayStation controller all the way from,
You like the original one?
Not so much the original one, but I've always preferred it over the Xbox controllers because those things were massive until they came out with a smaller one.
Yeah, the Duke was...
I love the Duke.
It's unplayable for me.
I didn't like how the analog sticks were up and like left.
Can we compare hand sizes? Like, no, our hands are literally the same size, Brad.
So was our wieners. Remember that night?
Yeah. Oh, our hands are all the same size.
Guys, this was meant to be.
Yeah, but back in 2001, they were much smaller. I was a tiny little thing, and the Xbox controller was cumbersome.
You got Donald Trump hands.
I just imagine you looking the same, but like wearing a diaper.
Yeah, goo goo gaga. No, I loved the Duke even back then though because it actually felt like you were holding something. It felt like you were controlling something. It was like a steering wheel on a car.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
The original PlayStation controller, I don't love. I have the PS Classic, and I have it I bought this little mod thing on Amazon, so I can play all the games. But until it got the analog sticks, until it got the dual sticks, a lot of games can play with a D-pad, but a lot of games can't play with a D-pad. And
my first time playing 7 was without the analog.
Yeah, and I'm glad I don't have to anymore. But that was the way you played a lot of games. But this, I think, why a lot of people were kind of complaining like, oh, they didn't even change the controller. But if it's comfortable and it works, no need to change it.
Yeah.
Well, even look at the PS5 controller. It is essentially the same controller. If it works, it works.
God dang, the PS5 controller is...
It's great.
It's maybe my favorite aspect. That and quick resume of the current console generation.
I'm waiting till they improve the battery on that thing, though, because I'm not going to want to fucking plug that thing in. No.
PlayStation 5?
Yeah, I hear the battery sucks.
I have 2 controllers that alternate a charging stand, so...
I hate that. Don't make me do that. Even the Switch's Joy-Con batteries last way longer than that.
Hades, I've gone through 6 AA batteries playing Hades. That's insane to me. I don't play a game through an entire set of batteries.
Oh, is the game I made Game of the Year last year?
Was it 2020 or 2021? It was 2021.
It was 2020 or no, it was
2020.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking 7 Remake still beats Hades though in my opinion. For me,
way better.
Dylan, for me.
It's just a better video.
Go easy on me.
I'm not going to go easy on you.
One last thing before we head to break. Going back to the launch, we didn't mention this before. When Europe was getting ready to have their PS2 launch, they had a concept. They wanted to have their their commercials be very surreal and have a concept of the third space where they're like, this is taking you to the next level. Like I
love those commercials.
This is crazy. And they're like, there's only one director that could possibly do this, David Lynch. Mm-hmm. So David Lynch has directed a PlayStation 2 commercial. It feels like Eraserhead had sex with a PlayStation.
I fucking love it.
Yeah. And normally on Raw Dogs, I would input the audio from a commercial because it's funny. I wouldn't do that to you right now. You would pull your car over because it's just maddening sounds.
Yep.
Yeah.
No benefit.
PlayStation always has had crazy commercials, though. Was it the PlayStation? The PlayStation 3 had like that weird baby's head, like a doll's head, like looking around, I want to say.
I think you're right.
The PlayStation 3, I remember...
that was for the 6-axis when it first came out.
That was a commercial. I was like, I really don't want a PlayStation 3. There's nothing appealing about this to me.
I didn't get a PlayStation 3 until 5 years after its release.
It's funny. The release of the PlayStation 1, when they came out and just said, like, what was it, $299? because they had like a perfect launch when they just came in.
$599. It was PlayStation 3.
No, I'm talking about for the PlayStation 1. They came out and they just did like the whole like press conference. They just came out and said the price, which was a huge like winning success. PlayStation 2 also had a great launch. PlayStation 3 is one of the most botched launches ever, along with the Xbox One. It's
they were too concerned about the price of the Blu-ray player on the inside. That's really what it was.
Yeah, and it's just funny how you can do everything so well, and you can just say the wrong thing at one press event, or
it came back though. It came back hard.
It came back and one ultimately sold more than the 360. But
wait, what? Really? That can't be right.
We're going to look this up. We're doing a live search.
I'm sorry, the 360 had to have sold more.
No, I think he's right.
I think it came back and sold more.
I saw one of those things on Reddit, you know, where they like do the infograph where like the numbers move in real time over the month.
Because I remember it won me back with the slim version.
Yeah, I didn't get it till I got the slim version because I jumped to 360.
The PS3 has sold 87.4 million units.
Christ.
The Xbox 360 has sold 84 million units.
Well, you thank Japan for that, I guess. I mean, that's literally what it is.
Nobody had PlayStation 3s in my hometown. Everybody had a 360. 360 was where it was at.
Yeah.
And everyone had Xbox Live. You all played online. That's what you did.
That was the Western game console. Whereas Sony, they could absolutely destroy in the Japanese market and the Asian markets. Nobody wanted a Microsoft anything. The Xbox One has done horrible in Asia.
We're going to grab a couple more beers, and we're going to hear from some of the other amazing shows from the HyperX Podcast Network. Make sure to check them out, and we will be right back.
Do it.
The Hardcore Gaming 101 podcast is on a mission to rank the top games of all time. I like the idea that when Bruce Wayne gets angry, he switches to the Batman voice.
Why do you have such a problem making Boomerang shaped like a bat?
You mean like Batman?
Not like Batman, just make it for me, Bruce Wayne. I can't even with this guy.
It's a Herculean task, and I'd be lying if I said it hasn't taken a toll on our cognitive faculties.
Most people would be happy to have a job during a global pandemic. Dennis.
Hardcore Gaming 101, twice a week, every week, right here on the HyperX Podcast Network.
Hello, my name's Jonathan Dunn, host of the O3C podcast. Every week I'm joined by my two best gaming buddies, Chris and Minty, and we talk about the games we're playing, the games we love, and how they rank alongside our sacrosanct top 100 favourite video games of all time lists. Deep dives into gaming mechanics, history and lore abound, all topped off with lashings of irreverent wry British wit, witterings and wisdom. For details on the show and more, head to o3c.games and tune in every Monday on the HyperX Podcast Network.
It's time to tap in with the HyperX Quadcast S microphone. The stunning HyperX Quadcast S features dynamic, customizable RGB lighting, a convenient tap-to-mute sensor, and 4 selectable polar patterns, so it can broadcast crystal clear audio whether you're gaming, streaming, podcasting, or impressing your remote colleagues and classmates. So what are you waiting for? Join the Quad Squad and tap in today with the HyperX Quadcast S microphone.
It does get better, by the way. It actually... The cool thing about Berserk is that it starts off as like this really great, like medieval kind of realistic thing, and then it absolutely devolves after the eclipse.
If they had only showed snippets, but you're seeing it in motion with the voice actors.
And better. We're back.
I'm sorry, this is the Berserk cast.
We're going crazy.
Dylan's going to talk about Kentaro Miura's artwork for another 45 minutes.
Let's talk about some of the other peripherals available for the PlayStation 2, some of the other accessories.
Go for it, yeah.
We talked about the DualShock 2. When I say some, literally everybody is familiar with the Guitar Hero controller.
Yep.
That was a big deal at the time.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Also, we had those Dance Dance Revolution pads.
We had those in gym class.
Really?
What?
Yeah, that was part of my gym curriculum.
Where did you grow up?
Beaver Dam Middle School.
Oh, Beaver Dam.
Yeah.
Damn.
They were like,
Makes sense.
we had treadmills, ellipticals, like a nice gym. It was a new gym. And then
we had those little scooters that ripped fingers off that you run around on.
Yeah, where you run over your...
Yep,
we had those too. But in
had
the corner, there was 2 TVs.
You don't get to have the fun pour stuff and the treadmills. That's not fair, dude.
Oh, yeah, no, we were spoiled.
I had a parachute that you bounced balls on.
That was cool. That was always a good day.
I mean, it was fine. And then they made me climb a rope, and I'm like, that's really high up for a kid. What if I fall?
That was
Nobody
so reckless.
cared. Why did they make us climb the rope?
Yeah, there's like a 6-inch mat at the bottom that's like 2 feet wide. I'm like, I'm not going to hit that.
Yeah.
That's a liability concern.
So we had the dance pads. Onimusha 3 actually released a Katana Controller.
I've never heard of that.
I'll show you. Let me look up a picture for you real quick. It came out with the game. It had all of the buttons along the hilt. So it actually had sticks and stuff on it, which is kind of cool.
Actually, I think this is unlocking an old memory now.
A pseudo. Wow, that's probably worth a lot of money right now. It's got to be.
Alrighty. Like, look at that. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool the way they have it all on the hilt.
I
have seen that.
fucking want that.
And it had an attachment, so it would be the full length of a katana, or you could take the blade part off. Because
I would do that.
Yeah. But
Accessibility.
and it actually allowed you to, when you were playing the game, you could swing the sword, and it would swing the sword in the game, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's sick.
It wasn't like the chainsaw controller, which really didn't do anything other than make playing more difficult.
I've only ever touched it once.
I would like to have one.
I had the opportunity to get one when I was 15 when the game came out.
Yeah.
And it was on sale at a GameStop for half the price. And I believe the price of that controller was about $80. And so they were selling it for 40, but I only had so much birthday money. And I was like, but this is kind of cool. And my mom's like, do you need another controller? You don't have that many people over. And I was like, damn, Mom.
And another cool. The truth hurts.
Down a peg.
The truth is really, she's like, do you need another controller? I'm like, I really like the slime controller, but I don't own a PlayStation 2.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna get you one of the cheap ones that aren't official.
Mad Cats.
Yep.
Mad Cats. We got to do a history of Mad Cats.
They actually have some good ones, but
Yeah, sometimes.
the instruction manual for the katana was actually a traditional. Is he bothering you?
No, he's fine.
Okay. He's very confused by the treadmill being up.
Yeah,
I see.
He's been staring at it.
The instruction manual for the katana was actually a traditional Japanese scroll too, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Sega actually released an official controller for the PlayStation 2. That was the Sega Saturn controller. And the L and R buttons were remapped to be face buttons. Everything looks more like a face button. And yeah, sorry, you destroyed our Dreamcast. We're going to make a controller for you though. There was also a keyboard and mouse for this. Memory cards, you need them. Can't get away without having them.
Yeah.
We knew that from the PlayStation 1. The standard memory card was 8 megabytes. You can get up to 128 megabytes officially. This was nice that there were a lot of third-party memory cards, weird ones that can be very big for much cheaper. And we're going to talk about memory cards a little bit later here. The multi-tap we mentioned. There was a headset, a network adapter, the hard disk drive. We went through a little bit of that. But let's talk about the iToy just briefly. We don't have time to go into the iToy, but
I like the iToy.
It always befuddled me. Like I said, I was really young when the PlayStation 2 came out, and I
Yeah.
don't think my little brain could wrap around the concept of it.
I'm impressionable. If someone tells you something's cool at that age, I would have believed you. But I remember seeing someone just bounce a soccer ball on their head,
Yep.
and I thought, this is fucking dumb.
I thought that was cool.
I mean, it's fine, but I'm like, I'm not going to get something just so I can just stand there and do that.
I was intrigued by, there was a card game that they tried putting on the PlayStation 2, and I thought that was like a brilliant concept. Like Eye of Judgment, it was called. You guys have never heard about that?
Maybe.
I was kind of fixated on it for a while because, I don't know, autism or whatever. But like, I was super just like, oh, so it reads the cards and then it kind of plays like a Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Did you have an iToy?
I didn't have a PlayStation 2.
Oh, yeah. That wouldn't make sense to have an iToy then.
I was jealous of
be
it, and
really
I wanted
weird
to
if you
see how
did.
it worked.
I think my brother might have. I don't know. I remember seeing a few places with him. It was like a little camera that allowed you to interact with some games in a very, it was kind of like a Proto Connect ahead of its time a little bit, but
It didn't work well.
there were no killer apps. There was nothing that like you wanted to play with it.
Well, it's like the
Just like Kinect's
the balance board. for
Kinect
the
was
Wii.
Kinect was more hacked and used for medical purposes than for video games because it was an impressive
and
piece
to
of tech.
detect ghosts.
Yes, Zach Baggins or whatever that show is.
Ghost
stuff.
Adventures.
Good times.
Good times.
Good times.
I hear you own slaves.
That's
That's pretty fucked up.
Ghost, fuck off.
Fucking Ghost.
They also had official like SingStar microphones and little buzzers for the
SingStar, yeah.
For the buzz quiz games. They're called buzz buzzers. Interestingly, Astro's Playroom for the PlayStation 5, there's a room where they have all of the hardware, official Sony hardware. Ooh. And the buzzers, Marty shouldn't be up there.
Wow, Marty. You're really nailing it, dude.
I'll let him fuck around, though. He'll learn.
What if I pinch his tail?
No. He's exploring, but yeah, they're actually featured in the official hardware for the PlayStation, which is cool. Some of the different models for the PlayStation 2. We have the original. The big, beautiful black behemoth. This is my favorite looking
Chunker,
one.
I think it looks the best. It looks the best, yeah.
Matte black design allowed for vertical or horizontal orientation. We mentioned the spinning logo on the disk drive. The first 2 launch models in Japan did not have built-in DVD movie playback. Surprising to read. Instead, relied on encrypted playback software that was copied to a memory card from an included CD-ROM. That's how they got around that. But luckily, none of that came to North America. But yeah, the slim one, though, came out a couple years later. What year did that come out? I'm surprised
it looks okay. That's the one with the pop open top.
Yeah. Which is much safer in the long run. From everywhere I've heard, the slim one, if you're buying a PlayStation today and you just want to play it, you want the slim.
Honestly, it still runs, and it runs fantastically. Like, I've got one at my place. It's great.
The PlayStation 2 Slim. Where is my information here? Release date 2004. Okay. The Slim had a built-in Ethernet port, but no expansion bay. Hide your weed somewhere else, kids. And no extra internal disk drive. There was also a couple of weirdos. The PSX, I'm sure you've probably seen a picture of, maybe?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that like weird white box.
Oh.
It was a Sony digital video recorder with the PlayStation 2, released December 2003. And this was released by Sony Corporation instead of Sony Computer Entertainment, so it does not contain the usual PlayStation branding anywhere. And built-in hard drive, different options for space, able to tune analog, VHF, and CATV, can be linked with a PSP to transfer photos, video, and music, and it features software for nonlinear video editing as well as image and audio editing. Released for about $700, and it was a huge failure. No one bought it at all in Japan, so they were planning to bring it to North America, but no one wants this shit.
Nope.
I like beer. And then there was also one Sony television, the Bravia KDL 22PX300, that had a PlayStation 2 built into the TV. Just one. And I believe it was a 22-inch television.
Wow, so big.
Not bad at the time, probably.
There had to be bigger.
It came out in 2010.
That's small.
Yeah, that's
2010,
small.
I'm sorry.
A television that
they had 70-inch screens.
Incorporates a PlayStation 2 console and 4 HDMI ports, only released in Europe, and only can play PAL games.
God.
Yeah, so...
Oh, God. The person who owns that's probably like, oh, man, it won't play Blu-ray? Are you kidding? What? It won't fucking play Blu-ray?
Fucking what?
I got this in 2010.
Dude, I got a PlayStation.
It's 2010, bruh.
Dude.
Bruv.
I would...
2010, bruv.
Dude.
Where's my Blu-ray, bruv?
I would... You could hook up a PlayStation 2 to the TV that had a built-in PS2 as well. Yeah.
Yes.
They saw those TVs with the old boob tubes with the VHS built in, and they're like, we need to capitalize on this market right here.
This market, dude.
5 years too late. And if you said 2005, I'd be like, okay, fucking fine.
Yeah, but the Slim has that nice opening feature compared to the PS3 with that awkward fucking slide top.
Yeah.
For the third model.
I brought just got Avatar. We're gonna watch it, huh? I can't even read the Avatar. Fuck, mate.
Got a new television, dude. Built-in game console. PlayStation 2. You heard of it? PlayStation 2 was still alive and kicking in 2010, by the way.
Bruv, there's a third one now. God damn it.
It's funny. I mean, there's no... I wonder if it had 2 controller ports in that TV.
I'm picturing 2 controller ports.
Where were they at?
On the side, like off to the side.
And you
but
couldn't
then
use
you had
them-
to stand like this close to the 22-inch TV.
And you couldn't use your multi-tap like, oh, bro, my multi-tap over, mate. We're going to play Battlefront. 4-player. What the fuck? Bruv, let's just watch Avatar instead.
Fuck, I got the Blu-ray instead, mate. Oh, shit.
There were some controversies for the PlayStation 2. It was a machine for terrorists.
Osama bin Laden loved PlayStation.
Saddam Hussein. Well, it was so powerful. The PlayStation 2 was feared to be so powerful it would be used by terrorists. This was all over the fucking news. Like, news were reporting this. Japan had to briefly limit exports under the Foreign Exchange and Foreign Trade Control Law, which says anything that could potentially be used for military purposes needed a special permit. This was such a powerful machine, it could potentially be repurposed and used for nefarious purposes.
I have never heard that.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to say that like Saddam Hussein and Osama just like to play PlayStation.
They played Final Fantasy 11 together a lot, dude.
But
Surprisingly, Osama was a white mage. I was surprised to read that.
The healer, yeah. It's kind of odd.
Yeah. But no PlayStation 2s were allowed to go to Iran, Iraq, Libya, and North Korea for these reasons. And there were rumors.
They would let them have it in North Korea. That would blow their fucking peasant minds.
Nope, they're still playing the Sega Saturn over there.
They love Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah, they're playing Dreamcast. They got Dolphin Blue. They don't need a PlayStation 2. They have Dolphin Blue, dude.
Dude, if they had Dolphin Blue is pretty like anti-dictatorship. I don't think.
yeah, that wouldn't fly over there.
No, it wouldn't fly.
Yeah.
Riding dolphins to fucking destroy dictators. Oh, man. Also, Kim Jong-un, he probably would have replaced Echo the Dolphin with him, just like swimming. Oh, Kim Jong-il, sorry. I mean, Un is his son now, but, you know.
And rumors were spread that Saddam Hussein was stockpiling 4,000 PlayStation 2s to be weaponized. This again was on the news.
How though?
Turned out to be entirely false.
Yes. Wow. Yeah.
I believe it was just they were
like nukes in Iran.
I think they were just getting sold to children. The PlayStation 2s that were getting shipped there or
Turns out
something.
Saddam's just having one really big LAN party.
Yeah.
So this is actually it's actually a big deal in these countries is when you can, if you're rich enough to get hacks or like bootleg systems, it's very important. You can find a lot of ROMs actually online of like games that like these home cooked developers would make for it, just so it didn't seem like westernized.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's pretty fucking funny. I love it. My friend who lived in Saudi Arabia would tell me about video games he played, and he'll be like, what's that game where like Donkey Kong goes on this like wicked adventure to China and like does all this shit? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And where can I find it? Donkey Kong went to China?
In a Game Boy game, apparently. A Game Boy Color game. It's a ROM hack of the Donkey Kong Country games for the Game Boy.
I do love me a good ROM hack. There was another controversy, the Great Memory Card Famine. Sony failed to renew licenses for third-party memory card manufacturers in 2002, causing a mass shortage of memory cards briefly. People were not able to buy memory cards and save their games for a while.
The Mad Cat himself cried that day.
Yeah.
I would not delete shit off of my memory card.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I was never going to play that game again. I wasn't giving up the save.
It felt like an
and that
accomplishment.
famine hit me because I had to actively delete stuff.
Oh, no.
I couldn't find any.
I was surprised. So, yes, I turned this on today. This memory card, I don't know who the fuck it belongs to. This is not my memory card in here. It might be I don't think it's my brother's either.
We should see if mine still works. It's got all my almost 100% Final Fantasies on it.
This is all sports games. This memory card, though, is very valuable to me, it turns out. It's also got my PlayStation 1 saves of importance backed up on here. I didn't know this. So, like, my Final Fantasy and Suikoden saves from PlayStation 1 are saved on here as well as tons of, like, all my Suikoden from the PlayStation 2 and Kingdom Hearts saves, God of War, Final Fantasy 10. Like, this has my 12 save, my original 12 save. This is a really cool little thing that I'm like, I'm glad you're safe, but I'm glad I know where it is, too. I lost my GameCube memory card, and that haunts me every fucking day.
I've got mine, baby.
I had a
It's
monkey.
got my Animal Crossing town that will never see the light of it.
I will never get my monkey ball to master mode again on the GameCube because I never did in the first place. Matt Underwood did, and I copied his save. I don't know anyone that's going to have a master mode unlocked monkey ball.
I'm not good enough for that shit.
I used to have to take my memory cards between my mom and my dad's house because I wasn't going to start over with that game. So I'd take the game and I'd put the memory card in the little slot above the disc.
You're the only one who's ever used that.
I used it all the time. I thought it was the coolest shit in the world.
It's cool if you do. Like,
yeah, it's great. It's
it was
what it's there
primarily made for kids from broken homes.
Yeah. Capitalized on that market.
Yeah.
for. My home was so broken up, barely even see my dad.
But I would take it.
He sure as shit didn't have no PlayStation.
I would take it.
We had an Atari.
That's actually true. I literally brought over an Atari, and he was like, "What's this? What, Pitfall?" And he was really into Pitfall. I was like, "Great."
I would take it back and forth, and I forgot it once, and so I didn't have a memory card at my mom's house, and I had gone to Family Video and picked up a game. I can't remember what game it was.
Sobbed.
And I started playing. I got pretty far into it, and realized I didn't have my memory card, and I wasn't going to see my dad for the next week because it was my mom's week.
So you make the tough decision. Do you leave it on?
I did not turn it off.
Yeah.
And when I realized the capability of being able to leave the PlayStation 2 on for a week and nothing goes bad, I once left it on for a month.
Well, now video game consoles don't turn off.
Well, but
the
like
Nintendo Switch doesn't turn off unless it loses power.
Also, if there's a disc spinning for like a week, it probably wasn't good either.
Oh, yeah. I had a disc spinning for a month. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas spun for a month while I visited my grandparents.
Okay.
I came back and was like walking up the stairs, fingers crossed, like, I hope this works. Turned on my TV and CJ's just standing there.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Here we go.
Yes. Game time, 30 days.
Yeah. Still got the jetpack, though, so we're good.
Yep. Memory cards were in short supply for a while. There was also a disk read error class action lawsuit. I know that I suffered a disk read error. I don't know if I sent my PlayStation 2 in ever, but in 2002, many gamers were unable to play their game discs and DVDs due to a fault with the laser that read the discs. After the lawsuit, Sony offered free repairs, a $25 check, and a free PlayStation 2 game.
$25.
Here's $25. And
it's like when they try to bundle games now. It's just like, do you want Destruction Derby
All Stars?
Destruction All Stars? Or you're like Dylan, I got my hands on a PS5 if you want one, but you gotta have Little Big Planet Adventures and Destruction All Stars. And I'm like, no. No.
It's like that Trailer Park Boys meme where like, I'm going to pay you $25 to shut the fuck up.
I'm like, no, why the fuck would I want that? And also I'm
Dylan
like,
immediately responds, fuck yeah, I want a PlayStation 5. You have to take Destruction All Stars and Little Big Planet.
No.
And you're like,
I'll wait.
I would rather die, Bradley.
I'm like, I can wait because it doesn't. I'm like,
You know, it's funny. I have those games. I've never put them in my PlayStation 5.
oh my God. Of course you haven't. You're a red-blooded American
And for
male.
one, Destruction All Stars was given as a free game on the PlayStation like the same month.
Yeah. Of course they wanted to get rid of it, those fools.
Ratchet and Clank, however, was a good one.
Well, yeah.
But with
I would have paid for Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. The disc read error was
$800.
It was also possible to fix it with diagnostic mode, which is something I did use to play some PlayStation 1 games. You actually had to go in the settings and change the mode, how it was reading the discs, and it worked. But we're going to discuss a little bit about the end of the era here with the PlayStation 2. 2013, Sony announces it has the PlayStation 2 has been discontinued after 12 years of production.
That's way too late, too. But this is Japan. Like,
If people are still buying something, keep making them.
yep. Well, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just stopped making Xbox Ones. That doesn't even compare, I guess. I mean, it's almost 10 years, but that kind of equals out.
It has one of the longest lifespans of a video game console. I didn't find the stats about what was longer.
The Wii has the longer one because of like Just Dance games and shit.
Yeah. They're still coming out.
You got to think like hitting the market 6 months early definitely gave you a little boost to that too for its longevity.
Yeah,
but also
you've got no competitor.
But Dreamcast is like, we're coming out early, dude. They botched that launch though.
Well, if it had a DVD player, it would have been fine.
It would have made a difference. But okay, so Sony announces it's going to discontinue the PlayStation 2. This was 1 month after the announcement of the PlayStation 4 that they discontinued the PlayStation 2. It was around that long, which is really weird.
Boy, howdy, did they announce the PlayStation 4 in the best way possible. After the Microsoft conference, when Microsoft completely like screwed their own pooch.
Yep.
Like, they're just like no online, always online DRM, $100 less.
Wasn't that the conference too where they're like, this is how you trade games on the PlayStation 4?
Yes,
They just handed
that's
this
exactly
back and
what
forth.
It's so good.
They were just geeking out and backstage like, all right, we're going to film it. It's like
And that's how they won that console war.
yeah,
Thanks for the
That's
game,
how they won
Brad.
that generation.
it's always on.
Now Xbox is on the rise again, though, and I'm completely on board.
Marty, stop.
I'm ready to fucking ride Xbox now.
That Game Pass is the best thing in the
It's
world.
the best value in the world.
Literally, if Carly needs
resume.
another minute to get ready, I can throw on Hades and get through 2 encounters. That fast.
Yep.
Which is crazy to me.
But if we're talking about chicks, huh? It probably takes like 5 encounters.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Women.
Fucking women putting on makeup to look really nice for us. Gross.
Meanwhile, I fart, throw on a dirty shirt, and buy her a beer. I win.
Perfectly
Yeah.
balanced as all things should be.
Yes. I wasn't playing 80s.
I wasn't doing it.
Why are you so sweaty?
I was just thinking about something I did the other day.
I
It
wasn't
made
near
me-
the end of the game at all. No.
I was watching Cops.
Oh God, just one more. Did I face the Minotaur and Theseus? No.
I'm so excited to talk about Hades Indie Games Month.
That's your pick?
Hades is getting a full episode as well as Disco Elysium.
Okay.
I think Cuphead we
Are
can...
you ready for disco?
I don't know. This is going to be one of those games I play and it's going to blow me away. I'm not ready for it, probably.
It's going to destroy you. It's really good.
But yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
Okay.
Repair services for the PlayStation 2 continued, though. They didn't end in Japan until September of 2018. They stopped repairing
Christ
PlayStation 2.
almighty. I'm way too old for that shit.
Yeah, the repair services were old enough to buy cigarettes, like 18 years, you know?
Yeah, fuck. That hurts my feelings a little.
Yeah. Sorry. I need to get my PlayStation fixed. Which one? 2, 3, or 4? It's actually the television. Do you guys fix these things? I'm trying to watch Avatar and it will not play Avatar.
Bruv, the disc won't spin, bruv.
Yo, bruv, it won't even play Avatar here.
There's an 18-year-old intern on the phone like, you made a TV?
I want to see the cat people plug in their antenna into the tree.
Hey, you see the Avatar, mate? It's fucking great.
It's great. I saw it in the theater, but I can't watch it on my TV, my 22.
Manager, we got Brad Pitt from Snatch here talking about a TV.
To all of our fans who are from Europe, from England, let us know how our accents are.
Oh, I don't care, bruv. Deal with it, bruv.
The very last video game to come out for the PlayStation 2, that goes to FIFA 13
Jesus.
and
13.
Final Fantasy 11, Seekers of Adulin in Japan.
Oh, Christ.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
It's an expansion pack of
I'm a
FF11.
seeker of Adulan. That's how I describe
I'm a
myself.
seeker of
on
Avatar.
my-
You seen Avatar, mate?
It's how I describe myself on my Tinder
This guy,
profile.
this guy turns himself into an 8-foot blue
Bruce
thing.
Otterbein.
He has sex with her. He puts his little tail up to hers and they kiss. This bad guy, though, he isn't a robot.
He's not a robot at all.
It's kind of about, nature and stuff. You want to save it.
A little.
A little. I'm just there for the sex, mate.
I'm here for
What? It doesn't play on my TV.
I'm here to make my hair, my penis as well.
The 10 best-selling PlayStation 2 games of all time. Number 10, Kingdom Hearts. 5.9 million units sold. We don't need to talk about everyone, but
No, we are. We'll go down the list.
Okay, well, I mean, we're gonna mention them all.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Number 9, Final Fantasy 12 at 6 million.
Okay, makes sense.
Number 8, Tekken 5 at
Okay.
6 million.
Great.
Number 7, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, 7.03 million. Sold more than Metal Gear Solid 3, surprisingly.
People bought this game under false pretenses, and that game really turned people off. That's all.
What, you don't want to get peed on as Raiden? Raiden.
I thought Snake Eater would be
Snake Eater is a better game, but the fact that they did a bait and switch and made
kind of pissed a lot of people off.
It really did turn people off from the series. I love Metal Gear Solid 3, but I didn't play it until way later in my life.
And I love 2. I mean, I think they're
fantastic.
They're great. They're all great.
Yeah, they're all good.
Number 6, Grand Theft Auto 3, 8.3 million units.
I'm surprised that's not number 1. Because
I think
everyone I knew in my entire life owned that.
I think I could probably take a guess at what one is.
Yeah. Well, why don't you do it?
Okay, we have 5 more games.
I'm
just going to say, we have 5 more games. What do you guys guess will be in the top 5?
I think it's going to be San Andreas. I think it's GTA San Andreas.
I think Vice City sold more.
Number 5 was Final Fantasy X. Okay. 8.5 million units sold. One of my favorite RPGs of all time. You almost there? Dylan has arrived. Not on the PlayStation.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, despite the wonky voice acting, though, that is a beautiful game.
I love that game. It's good. It's a good video game. I'm not even going to deny that.
But for every Titus laugh, you also have John DiMaggio as both Kamari and Waka killing it.
Dude, he fucking rules.
I remember finding out Bender was the voice of Waka. I was like, no way, dude.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I did not
know that.
know that. I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, it's John
Final
DiMaggio.
Fantasy X was my first Final
He
Fantasy
brings
game.
Honestly, without him dubbing Waka, I don't think I would have liked Waka at all.
I mean, how do you make the
racist.
ultimate racist Chad sports dude into the most likable character?
Yeah.
Cast John DiMaggio.
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna have to
true.
go. I have to go re-download that and replay it. Just
He delivers lines very well. Yeah.
You have an Avatar, yeah? I'm going to put it on my Bravia PlayStation. I can't do it. I can't do a walkout.
You can't do that.
I want to be British when I talk about Avatar. It's just a thing I do.
But he's Jamaica, man.
Number 4, Grand Theft Auto, Vice City.
Fuck.
10.25 million. 10.25. Number 3, Gran Turismo 4 at 11.76.
Fine.
Number 2 is Gran Turismo 3.
Ooh, I'm still alive.
14.89.
No, you won.
Number 1 is San Andreas.
Yeah.
17.33 million. 17.33 million. That's 7 more than Vice City, but also that's about 4 million more units than Wii U consoles sold.
Wow.
They sold 4 million more copies of that game than Wii U sold as a console.
And if I remember correctly, it was
bought one.
banned in several countries right after release, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hot coffee.
Yeah.
coffee,
Oh
yeah.
man.
What a great mod.
Which is so dumb. If anyone could jerk off to hot coffee, I would love to meet that person and talk to them for a while.
Dude, someone did for sure.
I know. I want to talk to them.
I didn't.
And I want to ask a lot of kinky questions.
I didn't include this in the. I didn't include this in the. I didn't include
Because
this.
I saw hot coffee. It's fine.
Under the problematic controversy section. I didn't include this because I didn't think it bared discussing, but there's a man who legally changed his name to PlayStation 2. He also attempted to marry his PlayStation 2, but was not allowed to, so he changed his name to PlayStation 2.
Oh, that sucks. Why not? Love's real, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
the expansion bay for something, not just for weed kids. That might.
I assume this is, for that guy, it was more like a hot dog in a hallway situation. But,
Ayo.
you know, that bay's a little too big, huh?
I'm getting the slimline model, dude. Makes more sense. Just need an Ethernet port, not a whole bay.
Kind of feels like a mouth.
This TV,
Sometimes.
Can this TV play Avatar?
This one play Blu-ray. If I come hard enough, will it play Blu-ray?
Some comments from the Discord.
Oh, boy.
We got some more in today that I didn't write down, so I'm just going to start with
Here, I can help
those.
out.
I got it right here.
You fool.
Kip wrote in, the PlayStation 2 was my first console that I was old enough to actually pay attention to its launch. There was a tech demo that eventually became the game Kessen that had me so excited. He put in parentheses, I was and am a total weeb, so anything Japan equals me paying attention.
Oh, yeah, I know Kip. He's a weeb.
With games,
I love you, Kip.
With games like Shadow of the Colossus, Silent Hill 2, Shadow Hearts, Final Fantasy X and 11, and Ico. You say Ico or Eco? It's Ico, right?
It's Eco.
And Eco. The PlayStation 2 and its library will always be one of my favorites. And he also mentioned that he loves the bouncer, even though it's obviously pretty awful. He said that. And yeah.
That's why Kip likes me. I'm the bouncer.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a mod for the bouncer where you play as Dylan,
Dude,
designed by
everyone would play it.
wearing Tetsuya Nomura clothing, yeah, I would get a poster of it too.
I might fucking draw it just for fun.
Maybe that'll be the thumbnail. You dressed up as the bouncer.
Yeah. Okay. I got a lot of stuff going on. I can't draw that.
Thanks for writing that in, Kip. Ryan says, I like this story. First disc we put on our PlayStation 2 was How the Grinch Stole Christmas on DVD.
The Jim Carrey one.
Brother and I raised a good chunk of cash to get one, but we convinced our parents to put in the last bit since their portion would cost less than getting a DVD player. Very wise.
Very smart.
Good move.
That's why he's a doctor.
Dr. Ryan.
I don't know if we were supposed to say that. I probably shouldn't have said that.
It don't matter.
Okay.
Ryan
Love you,
also
buddy.
mentioned Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3.
Budokai Tenkaichi.
He says, I would say that I was the best at this game in my friend group. I went to a local tournament with my girlfriend.
Oh, whoa.
My first opponent was
Chad over here.
My first opponent was an 8-year-old who beat the shit out of my Goku with Krillin. Dude, I only landed one hit. I told the kid it was a good match, and he replied, not really. In front of his girlfriend, dude.
And hopefully she did something to you. I don't know if I would
Fuck
ever.
you, kid. I have a girlfriend. You'd leave.
I was lucky enough to enter a tournament with a girlfriend for Pokemon. And I actually did very well, and it did not impress anyone in the situation.
And Ryan also wrote in a bunch of other games. We can discuss some more video games in Doggies After Dark. We'll go through some of that list there. My brother Brian wrote in, I actually really loved Dark Cloud, one of the first PS2 games I played. I loved, actually that very copy. I loved the rebuilding of the villages, the active time elements, the weapon upgrade system, randomized maps, and the different characters. Game had a lot of charm. I think you're wrong, Brian. I have played the game. I don't think it has any of those things, but I do know that you named the Native American character Catan. I remember that. I think I still have your save, maybe. Well, you did. You played a lot of that game. I fucking didn't get it. There was a little cat lady. There's a voluptuous genie. Great. Good stuff.
That's what I call myself.
Yeah.
Voluptuous genie.
So let's each... Well, I'm not sure how many games we can go through, but everyone, would you like to mention a certain game in the PlayStation 2 that meant a lot to you?
I guess... So I discovered Shadow of the Colossus through a friend, and I still legitimately think it's in my top 10 games of all time.
Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus is an important game artistically and just how it fucking plays. Shadow of the Colossus, 100%. I got the PS3 remaster with the Eco, and that's when I first really got into it and started playing it. And I was just like, okay, this is clearly something deeply, deeply emotional and respectful. It's so good.
Yeah.
And it's all that also came out.
That is a video game as art.
Well, and then it came out in such a late date. It was 2005, I believe. So it flew under a lot of people's radar. But I also think that it was kind of ahead of its time in the way that I don't think most people would have even tried playing this, even if they could. Most people played Eco because it was one of those games that came out where every publication was like kind of like going down on it pretty hard and like being like, this is like the new thing, man. This is like art. And now there's a million of these types of games.
I remember back then seeing a picture of Eco, and there was just a little kid wearing like a horned helmet, and I said, that looks not fun. And that's
He
why
actually has the horns. Those are his horns, by the way.
those are his horns.
Yeah, man.
Maybe I'm in now. I don't know.
That's great.
I can't talk to Brad 20 years ago. It's weird to say it like that.
We are so fucking old.
Yeah, this is a retro game.
Jumps off a cliff.
How about you, Tyler?
There's a lot of games that I could mention. Like we got Max Payne and Final Fantasy X sitting on the table right here. Those are two of my absolute favorites. But I'd have to go Resident Evil 4.
Nice.
Way later than the 4 on the GameCube, too.
Yeah,
But a lot of people's first time with the game.
Yeah.
I was
But you got that laser gun.
and I was way late to like any sort of like Eastern games. Like I played a lot of like Grand Theft Auto and sports games and stuff at the beginning, and then I found Shenmue, and I was like, this is delightfully weird. I've never experienced anything like this.
No, if we did a Shenmue episode, I would literally
And then
We just did enough Yakuza
insane.
for that. I need to take a break from
okay.
some of that.
Brad, it would drive you insane. I would literally have to be like, we have to dedicate an entire weekend to just sitting in my place. I'm gonna get drunk, and you're gonna play Shenmue, and I'm just gonna sit there. I'm gonna be like, God, I gotta start smoking cigarettes again. I'm gonna go get a pack, and then I'll never come back. And then you have my house now, and I'll never return.
We need to make sure all the windows are all blacked out too. Yeah. And we have to take all clocks away from me. It's like a test. Like, how long can you play Shenmue before you go crazy?
It was delightfully, like in the best way, delightfully weird. I'd never experienced anything like that. And then when
for the time I get it.
And I had a buddy who played, Final Fantasy and all those sorts of games, and I was like, I really like this game, but I'm not totally like into it, but I want something in the same vein. And for whatever reason, he's like, you've heard of Resident Evil, right? I'm like, yeah, it's just a zombie game, right? Like, never really delved into it. He's like, play this, and he gave me Resident Evil 4, and now like, I'll just randomly be cooking on the line at work, and like, what are you buying? What are you buying? What are you selling?
I would, very happy that
Welcome,
the
stranger.
Resident Evil 8. Fuck, I forget his name, Baron something.
Baron McFat.
Yeah, he actually says, "What are you buying?" And he goes, "A friend of mine used to say that." And I was like, "How did they meet? The lore implications."
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything more to that, but whatever.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 by far, though. I love that game.
That's generally not even considered a PlayStation 2 game, which is very, like, people, it is on PlayStation 2, but for a lot of people, like, they consider that like a GameCube game, which is really interesting. I like that.
Yeah, and I didn't find out that it was on GameCube till way later, after I got a GameCube.
It came out 7 months after the GameCube version.
I'm very happy that I was raised on GamePro and EGM because I felt so in touch with what games were coming out.
Here,
and if it wasn't for that, like, that's how you found out about stuff. There wasn't, I mean, G4 came shortly afterwards, but not most cable packages, at least where I'm from, nobody had G4 unless you had some weird satellite package or something. So that's how I found out about a lot of that stuff. And for my pick, I could talk about Final Fantasy 12 or Kingdom Hearts, which meant a lot to me, but I'm going to go with the DVD copy of Avatar I had. I left it on for a month straight. I just watched it the whole time. I didn't want to lose my spot. I didn't have a memory card.
You love unobtainium. I knew that about you.
All jokes aside, I would like to call out a beautiful little game called Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. I don't know. I mean, I have a video game that has defined who I am more at the time. Like, I couldn't choose one. The music in this game defined my music taste for like 5 years. And I still have heavy nostalgia for all of this soundtrack and all of those bands. It got me into the skateboarding culture. It got me into like Jackass and Bam Margera because that series transitioned into it. It really, that edginess and style of like extreme sport really kind of became integral to my personality.
Sure.
And also you could design skate parks, which I still have on that memory card, my original skate parks, which is kind of fun.
That was fun. I did like
They're all
Tony
just
Hawk.
shaped like penises.
Yeah. No,
Check out this one. It's
it
like-
wasn't
this one's
until
like
it wasn't
balls.
until I was able to use like the Wii U pad that I really could make wieners. There is a Smash Brothers save for the Wii U that is just a wiener, and I'm like,
Yeah, I did that too.
wow, we made it, guys.
Yeah.
Yes. So I do have one other question about the PlayStation 2 I'd like to ask you guys.
Go for it.
PlayStation 1, Crash Bandicoot. PlayStation 3, Nathan Drake. What would you say, or who would you say is the mascot for the PlayStation 2?
Snake.
Snake's a good choice. The first person that came to my mind was CJ.
No.
Carl Johnson. And I probably put the most hours in as...
He's
You
not
might
mar-
actually be right, though.
But no, he's not marketable.
He's not, but...
But everyone loved CJ.
It hurts
You're
'cause it's
exactly
true.
right. Well, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not even saying that's my opinion. I'm saying, like, as you guessed so well, everyone put him at the fore. Like, his game sold the best.
When I think back to the PlayStation 2, I think back to San Andreas, probably the most out of any game. But I do think you're probably right with Snake being the mascot, because
It's definitely Snake
It's
for
hard to it's hard to promote a game that's rated M for mature and banned in several countries.
I have another suggestion.
Go for it.
The one that came to me is Kratos.
Kratos. That is actually But I gotta tell you,
he's marketable.
Yeah.
He's got the edginess, that hardcore feel that PlayStation 2 wanted, a more mature feel for gamers.
I think you're right.
That's, yeah,
I think that's the one, because that was so exclusive. Because eventually, Metal Gear Solid came to Xbox.
Yep. Subsistence. Both of them. One was 2 and one was 3.
Subsistence, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did he do that? I don't know.
I
love Hideo Kojima. I literally got a job based on playing Death Stranding.
I listened to the whole Death Stranding vinyl, like 3 LP today while I was waking up.
It's such a good one.
I love him.
Yes.
Kojima, please let me buy you a beer.
Kojima, let me kiss you.
We're not joking.
I'm not kidding. I'd kiss him on the fucking mouth.
And I know we mentioned this, I think, on a prior Dogcast. I just like to point out the hilarious failure of the mascot being Jack and Dexter. Naughty Dog made Crash Bandicoot. They made Nathan Drake, and their PlayStation 2 entry was Jack and Dexter. Dexter is okay. Jack is not a great design.
People love those games, man.
I'm not saying they're not good games.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm just saying that the character design of Jack, and they're like, it didn't work. Make him edgier.
I'm gonna kill Vexus.
Did he always have a soul patch, or was that just Jack 3? That he had the little.
He had a soul patch.
It was Jack 2. It was Jack 2, I think.
Give him a soul patch and a scowl this game.
He talks now? Oh, God.
He's like, I fucking love Avatar, is the first thing he said.
He said, I'm going to watch Avatar on my Blu-ray player.
Yes. And he found out that Draxus, whatever his name is, like broke his copy of Avatar. He's like, I'm going to fucking kill Draxus.
Little did people know that's the basis to the entire trilogy.
Yeah,
Found out he broke his controller. He's like, I've got to buy Mad Cats now.
James Cameron.
James Cameron's Avatar 5. The Seeds of Life.
I'm just
James Cameron's Avatar 4. I guess so.
I guess.
James Cameron's Avatar 3.
Because why not?
Is this real? James Cameron's Avatar 2. Underwater Avatar.
Because fuck you.
Their scales plug into barnacles.
And Josh...
you got to keep that.
Josh posted a picture on the Discord of his PlayStation 2 collection. Honestly, it looks like about 90 games. Maybe 100 games.
Criminy, of course.
He's got a lot in there. I see.
Now that he's a businessman.
He's got a lot of sports game.
Does he have Hot Shots Golf, though?
I'm guessing he does. He's got
Hot Shots Golf's rules.
He's got The Punisher. He's got NHL Hits. He's got And One Basketball. He's got the Bouncer.
He's got the Bouncer.
Star Wars Battlefronts. Those were great.
Yeah.
Sonic Heroes.
Oh,
not good.
Sonic Heroes.
Does he have Obscure?
I can't see all of these, but
Obscure is a good game.
So we are going to continue our PlayStation 2 discussion in Doggies After Dark. We're just going to gush about some of our favorite games. And if you wanted to join us, that's available on our Patreon.
Absolutely.
Do you want access to a bunch of bonus episodes, our after show, Doggies After Dark, and even an exclusive podcast? Wait a second. I can't talk about that yet. Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/Hair of the Dogcast. We want to thank executive producers Ryan Christianick, Tyler Keller, Killmonger,
Kip the Captain.
Kip the Captain.
Captain King.
Captain Kipper.
Captain Ratchet and Clank. I just literally looked up.
Ratchet and Kip.
Ratchet and Kip.
Brian Ward and Katie Bone. The Raw Dogs exist because of people like you. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or thoughts about this episode, if you want to tell us why you love Avatar, you can reach out to us on Instagram at Hair of the Dogcast and on Twitter at Hot Dogcast. Heck, you can even email us at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com. We are part of the HyperX Podcast Network. For more information, check out podcast.hyperx.com. Our next episode topic is the Arkham series of video games.
We're doing another Batman.
We're going to actually go into just that trilogy specifically, yeah.
I have a lot of problems with this trilogy.
And a lot of good things to say as well about Asylum.
Asylum, yeah.
Yes. Hey,
I have a lot of good things to say about Asylum.
I love City and Night.
I think City's kind of like...
And
I like City a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'm excited to talk about those
This
games.
will be interesting because I am known as kind of the renegade on the podcast.
The trailblazer.
The trailblazer.
I mean, you are definitely the Red Hood of the group.
I am truly the Red Hood of our
You don't
Robin.
care at all, dude. You will shoot anyone who doesn't like Avatar in the face.
Blammo. I'll be like, you don't like Sigourney Weaver in this, you stupid idiot. It's called unobtainium because it's hard to obtain.
Dude, we can't find it anywhere, but what do we call it?
I love the main character. I can't remember his name, but he's pretty cool.
And that actor who wasn't in anything else, but he's so good.
Sam something or other.
Sam Worthington.
Sam Witwicky.
It is Sam Worthington, you're
Is
right.
it? Yeah.
It's got to be.
Hashtag love Zoe Saldana. You can do no wrong.
Yep.
This has been Raw Dogs. Join us next week for Tom's final Dogcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you have a chance to write a review or anything, we'd really like that. If you did, we'll
If you give us a how about this? If you give us a 5-star review at the end, we'll actually say it out loud.
And in your 5-star review, write your favorite part of Avatar. Don't mention our podcast at all.
Yes.
Write the review like you're reviewing Avatar, and we'll read it on the air.
I would love to read.
Let's start doing that. Let's start just having reviews where
for
they're
Avatar.
Yep.
Just 5
2009.
stars. You will never be one of the people.
It's always about Avatar reviews from now on, please.
I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, Jake Sully is the name of the character. Oh my God, how did I know that?
Yeah. Well, it's because it's one of the greatest films of the
Yeah,
You
well,
dug
you
deep for
know,
that.
Yeah.
when you go to my Avatar room in my house and you see all the Avatar products,
It's weird because he only has 4 rooms in his house, too.
I'm really angry.
This is my living room. This is my kitchen. This is Pandora.
Oddly enough, my bathroom is Pandora.
Well, the bathtub's there for the underwater sequel. So it's perfect.
That's what I pretend.
The end of the model's tail is a USB port. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This has been Raw Dogs. And go check your PlayStation 2 memory cards. Make sure everything's safe. And go see if you still have your ex's PS2 Slim, Tyler.
I need to look for it. I'm pretty sure it's in a box somewhere.
Get out of mine. I don't care.
All right. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Coming soon to HyperX.com, HP.com, and more fine retailers, the HyperX Cloud Alpha Wireless. The Cloud Alpha Wireless gets up to 300 hours of battery life, so you'll spend less time charging your headset and more time charging into the action. The dual-chamber drivers, enhanced by premium DTS Headphone X spatial audio, provide reduced distortion, allowing you to hear audio cues with pinpoint precision. Up to 300 hours of battery, 2 chambers, 0 wires, the new HyperX Cloud Alpha Wireless.